Alright, one of the first things we need to know now that you're holding the guitar right and know how to hold the pick is you gotta know so you can understand where I'm coming from when I'm starting to talk about notes. Let's learn the 6 open strings, okay? Eventually we're going to learn all the notes on the guitar neck, and I have ways to teach you that where you're going to know them very quickly. It's all based off the 12-note scale. In Western music, there's 12 notes. That's it. 12. That's the same 12 notes if you're playing piano, if you're playing guitar, if you're playing kazoo, if you're playing a harmonica, if you're playing an accordion, if you're playing a harpsichord, if you're playing anything. 12 notes, Western music, that's it. Okay, and we're going to get into those. But for now, I want to teach you the names of the open strings because that's where we're going to base everything off of. Okay, you have six strings on 6-string electric or acoustic guitars. Okay, the strings are also numbered very commonly. The lowest string is your 6th string, then 5th string in order as you go down, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. The 6th string, the lowest string, is named, if we're going to be also going off of standard tuning, standard A440 tuning. So in that tuning, the low string is E. The next string, A. Then the next string, D. G. B. E. E, A, D, G, B, E. Low to high. If you want to remember that, I'm going to give you an acronym so you'll never forget it. And by the way, I didn't come up with this acronym. I read it somewhere. I forget where, but through the years it just always stuck with me, this one. And I don't know who came up with it. If anyone knows, please email me because I want to shoot them out a kudos. Thank you. Good job if you did. So I don't know who the originator is of this, but for some reason it's always resonated with me. And my students. Once I tell them this, they always remember. No one ever forgets it. So here's what you remember. Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. Isn't that beautiful? Eddie, E, ate, A, dynamite, D, G, good, B, bye, Eddie. E, A, D, G, B, E. Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. Never forget that. Right? Beautiful. So those are your 6 open strings. Open meaning I'm not fretting anything. They're open. Just like open position chord. Like, see, I'm hitting all the open strings. Those are all open. I'm not fretting. I'm not pushing down anywhere. Open position chords are going to be the first chords that we learn. Remember I talked about that in some previous modules. We're going to learn some major and some minor chords. Open position meaning there's at least 1 or 2, 3 or 4 open strings when you're playing the chord. Like this C major chord. There's an open E string. I'm not fretting a note. I'm playing it open, and I'm also playing the open G string. That's what an open chord usually means, that there's at least 1 open string along with all the other ones that you're fretting. Okay? That's one of the great things about the guitar. There's so many. I can sit here and talk about them forever. There's so many, but one of the great things about the guitar, in the ever-growing, huge, infinite list, is that this instrument is polyphonic. Polyphonic meaning you can play multiple notes at once. Okay? Think about it. You can't do that with a lot of other instruments, like a horn. For the most part, you're blowing 1 note at a time. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking horns, because I like them. Great sound, love them, but I love the guitar because of all these beautiful, rich chords you're playing, where you're playing multiple notes at the same time. See, we can play 6 notes at once, you know? All these beautiful sounding chords. And instruments where you could play multiple notes at once seem to really appeal to me. I like the polyphonic nature of that. So yeah, so that's why I think one of the reasons is the multiple notes, being able to play multiple notes or poly notes as a polyphonic. That's why one of the reasons the guitar is so awesome. So I want you to memorize the open string names. Did you forget them already? I don't hear you saying them. E, A, D, G, B, E. Low to high. Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. That's our starting point. Those open strings, because then we're eventually going to learn all the names of the notes up and down the neck. And remember, for now, there's 12 notes in Western music. That's it. And we're going to be going over those shortly. But I don't want to bog you down with a lot of music theory to start with. starting guitar, you want to get playing, you want to start playing chords, you want to start having fun, playing with your friends, jamming, learning songs, having a good time, rocking out. Yeah, that's what you want to be doing, right? Not learning a lot of theory. Theory is important, and we're going to be learning quite a bit of it. But at first, I'm going to get you going on the mechanics, on the proper techniques, on the chords, on strumming, doing that so you can start enjoying the instrument, and then I'm going to be introducing theory to you, and which will tie everything together. One of the most important things I mentioned earlier about playing guitar and being a musician, I think, is to develop your ear. Another most important thing, I think, from seeing hundreds and hundreds of students is I think learning some theory will really make you a better musician. I get a lot of questions from students. I just answered one yesterday. A student emailed me, said, hey, do I really have to learn theory? How important is it? It's pretty important. It's pretty important. It makes things a lot easier because it ties everything together and you understand why certain things work. There's a reason why certain notes sound good together, certain chords sound good together that are in certain keys. It just doesn't happen because. See these guys behind me in my office here, in my studio, I have pictures hanging of some of the guitar players that have influenced my playing. Guys like Jimi Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen, Joe Satriani, Robert Cray, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Those guys just didn't sound good because they knew exactly what they were doing and what they were going for and putting their notes and their leads and their licks together. And there's a reason why certain notes sound so good together or certain notes sound good over certain chords. And it all falls back to music theory. Now, when I say music theory, I'm not talking about real abstract things that we're going to have to get into, just the basics at first. And it will, believe me, it'll make you a better musician. It'll make you understand the whole instruments and music better in general. And if you want to write your own songs, it'll make it so much easier. So I do think theory is important. However, at first, I'm not going to bog you down with a lot of it. We're going to take a little bit at a time. And it's not this huge ogre monster, music theory. No, it doesn't have to be like that. I break things down and explain them in a very simplistic manner to make it easy to digest and understand. And that's the way we'll handle music theory. So don't look at music theory as it has a very negative stigma to it or negative connotation. And that's just a myth. Let's forget about that. Okay? So learn those open string names. We'll see you in the next module. Rock on!